The 1975 Roosevelt dime is a fascinating piece of American coinage that carries both historical significance and numismatic interest. The dime was designed by John R. Sinnock and first released in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945. Roosevelt was widely admired not only as a statesman and leader of the United States during the Great Depression and World War II, but also for his work in founding the March of Dimes to combat polio, which affected millions of Americans, including Roosevelt himself. The obverse of the 1975 Roosevelt dime features a profile portrait of President Roosevelt facing left. The sculpted likeness captures his determined expression and distinguished features and is surrounded by the inscriptions, "Liberty in God," "We Trust," and the date. 1975. The artist's initials, JS, appear subtly at the base of the neck. The reverse of the coin depicts a classic torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. The torch symbolizes liberty, the olive branch peace, and the oak branch strength and independence. Above the torch is the inscription, United States of America, while below it reads, "One dime." The motto, A Pluribus Unum, appears horizontally across the top. The Roosevelt dime is composed of a clad composition consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was adopted in 1965 following the removal of silver from circulating dimes due to rising silver prices, which made coins more valuable for their metal content than for spending. The 1975 dimes were struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins do not bear a mint mark, while Denver coins carry a D mint mark and San Francisco coins carry an S mint mark. The 1975 issue does not have any major minting errors, but collectors often seek examples with full strike details or proof coins from San Francisco, which have a mirror-like finish and sharper details. Proof coins were part of the regular proof sets and were highly sought after by collectors. The 1970s were a period of continued circulation of Roosevelt dimes alongside other coinage. The design had already become iconic by this time and was familiar to every American. The coins were widely used in everyday transactions, yet they also held appeal for coin collectors due to their historical significance and connection to Roosevelt. The value of a 1975 Roosevelt dime in circulated condition is generally minimal, often worth face value. However, uncirculated or proof examples, especially those with exceptional quality or in original mint packaging, can fetch a higher premium in the numismatic market. Collectors often pay attention to details such as strike quality, luster, and the absence of contact marks when assessing the value of these coins. The Roosevelt dime is part of a long legacy of U.S. coinage that commemorates historical figures and events while remaining in regular circulation. Its design has endured for decades and remains a staple of American coinage. Its production and circulation tell a story of post-war America, the evolving monetary system, and the continued remembrance of a beloved president. In addition to its monetary role, the dime also serves as a reminder of Roosevelt's contributions to public health initiatives. The March of Dimes campaign that Roosevelt inspired continues to impact the fight against polio and other childhood diseases. The 1975 Roosevelt dime is therefore not only a piece of currency but also a small tribute to Roosevelt's enduring legacy. The coin exemplifies mid-20th century American minting practices and reflects the design aesthetics of the period. Its simple yet meaningful design captures the essence of liberty and national pride. Collectors often incorporate 1975 Roosevelt dimes into larger collections that document the evolution of U.S. coinage over time. By examining coins like the 1975 dime, one can gain insight, the cultural and economic context of the era, The 1970s saw a stable yet dynamic economy, and coinage like the Roosevelt dime circulated widely in commerce and everyday life. Coins like this served as a tangible connection to the nation's history and values and continue to captivate collectors today. The story of the 1975 Roosevelt dime becomes even more interesting when we explore the political and economic environment of the mid-1970s, a time when the United States Mint was working to maintain coin production at high levels due to the growing population and increased demand for small denomination coins. The country was experiencing inflation, energy challenges, and transitions in government leadership, and these broader national conditions had an influence on how coinage was viewed and used in everyday life. The dime remained an essential part of daily commerce, especially for vending machines, payphones, parking meters, and small transactions that shaped the daily routines of millions of Americans. The 1975 dime represents a continuation of the clad coinage era that began in 1965 when silver was removed from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars. The rising price of silver in the early 1960s forced the government to find a more stable and less expensive metal composition for coins. The copper-nickel-clad structure introduced during this transition proved efficient, durable, and cost-effective, allowing the mint to meet rising demand without relying on precious metals. The 1975 dime therefore reflects the mint's long-term commitment to this modern coinage standard and stands as a typical representative of how American coins evolved away from intrinsic metal value and toward practicality. The production process of the 1975 dime itself reflects the precision and industrial capability of the U.S. Mint. At the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, massive coining presses struck millions of dimes each day. Mint workers prepared copper-nickel sheets, rolled them into strips, and punched circular blanks, which were then sent through an upsetting mill to form raised edges. These edges ensured the coins would stack neatly and maintain consistent size essential for machines and counters. Afterward, the blanks were struck between engraved dies which imprinted Roosevelt's portrait on one side and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the other. These symbols continued to represent liberty, peace, and strength values that had defined the nation's identity throughout the 20th century. The San Francisco Mint focused primarily on creating proof coins for collectors. Proof dimes from 1975 were carefully struck using polished dies and planchets to achieve a mirror finish and extremely sharp detail. Mint employees handled these coins with precision, ensuring they remained free of scratches and contact marks. The proof sets containing these dimes were sold to collectors and preserved as examples of the highest quality minting craftsmanship of the time. Interestingly, although the 1975 dime itself appears completely ordinary, there is an important chapter in numismatic history related to the missing 1975 no S proof dime, which was accidentally struck without the S mint mark. The absence of a mint mark created one of the most valuable modern dime rarities, although these missing mint mark examples do not exist for the regular circulation strike of 1975. Only a tiny number of no S proof dimes were ever released before the error was discovered, making them incredibly rare and extremely valuable among collectors. This awareness of rare errors from the 1970s has caused many collectors to carefully inspect even regular circulated 1975 dimes, just in case. The 1975 dime also reflects the ongoing legacy of the Roosevelt series. By the mid-1970s, the design had already been in continuous use for nearly 30 years, becoming one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Roosevelt's image remained unchanged through wars, economic transitions, and political shifts, representing stability and national pride. Even as other denominations underwent redesigns, the dime maintained its classic cynic portrait, which had become instantly recognizable to generations of Americans. The coin's size, weight, and composition remained consistent, ensuring that vending machines and mechanical coin devices throughout the country could continue to operate smoothly without recalibration. Throughout the decade, many coin collectors found themselves expanding their interest in modern coinage, including dimes from the 1970s. Even though these coins did not contain silver, they represented the ongoing evolution of American minting and the changing economy of the nation. Collectors often examine 1975 dimes for strike sharpness, die wear, heavy die polishing, or other small variations that give clues about mint conditions and production methods of the time. In uncirculated condition, the coins display strong luster and detail that reveal the craftsmanship of the minting process.